We had a client that we worked with, and she was really struggling with profitability. She kept raising tuition. She actually did 3 tuition increases within a 15-month cycle, and she still could not catch up. So I helped her work with our 6 money leaks in schools, and she only used 3 of the 6 money leaks and cut her expenses by 50%. 50. She did not fire anyone. She did not slash any of her programs, and she did not work more hours. Again, the 6 money leaks are not hacks or spreadsheets. These are patterns. They are small decisions that feel so normal that your school does, but they quietly drain your school's profit. So if you've ever wondered why you're working so hard, but still not seeing the return, this is your first step to clarity. Click the link in the show notes and find out what it's actually costing you.
Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, where we have conversations about education, leadership, and building a school of excellence. The goal on this show is to bring you clarity, up-level your mindset, and give you practical strategies and inspiration so you can show up with confidence and trust your decision-making. I'm Chani Wilshansky. I'm a mom of 4 under 10, a former New Yorker, and been in the early childhood field my entire life. And I'm so grateful that you've joined me for this conversation. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Schools of Excellence podcast. I'm really grateful that I get to spend this time with you every single week. And I know that I said that last week and the week before, but I really do appreciate the time that you invest in yourself and choose the Schools of Excellence podcast to be your companion and your guide as your continued growth as a school leader. There are thousands of shows that you can listen to, and so I do appreciate your time and attention every single week. I also want to thank those of you that have taken the time to rate and leave us a review on this podcast. We are almost at 50 reviews already for this show, which is such a huge milestone. Every time you leave us a review, anyone who leaves us a review helps us climb even higher in the charts on iTunes and helps more school leaders find out about this show. So when you're done listening to today's episode, if you enjoyed it, please go ahead on over to iTunes and rate and leave us a review. So now let's jump into what this week's episode is all about. This week is about the ideal week for school leaders. And right now we're in a season where at the end of the school year, we're going into summer, and there's a lot of you that have these great plans and these great dreams for what you want the summer to look like. And I know those goals and dreams because I have them, and I've had them also when I was a school leader. And today I want to break down for you 3 ways for you to really be able to create this ideal week for yourself. So I want to get started with one of the quotes that I absolutely love from Stephen Covey, which is, "Don't prioritize your schedule, schedule your priorities." The definition of the ideal week is your ideal week is a week that you would have if you could control 100% of what you do with your time. Busy as we are, we rarely take the time to think about the bigger picture, to consider our personal and professional priorities and how we're allocating our most valuable asset, our time. And so your ideal week is a week where you actually have time, where you've considered professional and personal priorities, where you've allocated time for bigger picture thinking. Here's a really good question to think about to kick off the show. If my week included all the things that nourish me and my family and take me closer to legacy and impact, what activities would get my time? I'm going to repeat that for you, and I'm going to go slow because I really want you to process this. So whether you're in the car, folding laundry, doing dishes, going for a jog, really slow and lean into this. If my week included all the things that nourish me and my family and take me closer to legacy and impact, what activities would get my time? If you don't plan the ideal week, you'll never have one. It isn't going to magically happen one day. You won't magically wake up and all of your challenges and all the things that are taking your time are magically going to go away. There's no shining armor. There's no Prince Charming that's coming to save you. And that's what this podcast is about. You're listening to this show because you believe that you deserve to create and build a school of excellence. So you really want to be thinking about, what does your calendar say about what's really important to you? So one of the husbands of our owners, who's in our owners HQ program, one of the activities that we do with our owners is we have them track their time. We have a special worksheet that we give them that helps them assess where their time is currently going. And one of these people asked her partner to actually do time tracking. And he did time tracking, and he actually spent 21 hours in a week on his phone scrolling or watching television. 21 hours. That's an entire day out of a week that is almost a 24-hour period focused on his phone. Time goes, and the time adds up, and it becomes a sucker punch to your throat where you're like, oh my God, I need to stop wasting my life. This is the power of pausing and recognizing that unless you're auditing where your time is going, it's just going. The important thing to remember when designing an ideal week is that life is always busy. Life will always happen. And here's something to tape to your desk and to your car dashboard and to your laundry hamper. The urgent demands of life will always fight for your attention. The urgent demands of life will always fight for your attention. And so you need to decide what gets your attention, not the other way around. It's not, oh, whatever gets my attention is where my attention goes. The urgent demands of life will always fight for your attention. Jim Rohn has a great quote that I absolutely love. Winning is simple. Wake up every day and do the things that everyone else avoids. Winning is simple. Wake up every day and do the things that everyone else avoids. Creating an ideal week is a process. It's something that's ever changing. And so let's get started with number one. What is the first step in creating this ideal week? Well, the first step is your ideal week is your time budget. Just like your business has a financial budget for things that you say yes to and for things that you say no to. So if you think about when you plan your budget for the year, you budget out that you're going to spend X amount of money on professional development and X amount of money on staff training and X amount of money on supplies and payroll and utilities and extra things. You have a personal budget where you have, this is how much money we're spending on family vacations. This is how much money we're spending on community and our faith or our children or whatever it is. This is how much we're allocating towards investment. This is how much money we're allocating to save. So if you think about a financial budget, if you have $40,000, let's say, you think about, how do I want to spend it? How do I want to save it? And how do I want to invest it? Now, what if you have 40 hours? You want to look at your calendar and your ideal week in the same concept. If you have 40 hours, how do you want to spend those 40 hours? How do you want to invest those 40 hours? And how do you want to save or play with those 40 hours? Because you can't save time. You can save money. Time gets used up whether you use it or not. It passes. So you can't save time. That's why saying I'm going to catch up is a myth, because you can't catch up. This is a very different approach to looking at your time. Looking at your time like a budget and saying, if I have 40 hours, where does the time go? If I'm a school owner and I have 40 hours, where is my time best suited to continue the growth trajectory of the company, to continue legacy building, to continue to create impact and brand recognition? If I'm a director and I have 40 hours, where does my time go? Looking at it as a budget, just like you say, I can't afford that right now from a financial perspective. You need to be able to look at your time and say, I can't afford that right now. My calendar can't do that. You see, leaders struggle so much with creating an ideal week because they think their time belongs to everyone else. They think they need to be at everyone else's mercy. If you're still struggling with the concept of the open door policy and always being available for your teachers, I encourage you right after this episode to go back to episode 4 of the Schools of Excellence podcast and listen to our episode on the myth of the open door policy. Your teachers, you don't let them just spend your money, right? If you have $40,000, your teachers don't get to decide how you spend $40,000. They need to ask for approval before they spend money. Be protective of your time as you are of your money. You protect your money. You constantly look at the numbers. You're constantly seeing, are you on budget or off budget? You got to do the same thing with your time. Your time is telling you something. You are in control of your time. And so step 1 in creating an ideal week is looking at your time like a budget. Your time doesn't belong to anyone else. Just like you don't give any of your staff the password to your banking account, your staff do not get free reign of your time and your calendar. Nor does your board, nor does the licensor, nor does the accreditor, nor does your directors or parents or kids or anyone. You are in control of your calendar. Just like you don't give the parents the keys to the bank, you don't give them the keys to your calendar, which means when they say, hey, can I talk to you for 5 seconds? You decide if you say yes or no to that. You decide. You need to take more ownership of your time and look at it as a budget. Just like you budget out your financial calendar, you budget out your time calendar. Are you a school leader who has a long list of responsibilities at home, at work, wherever it is that you are? Your to-do list just never seems like it's ending. But what you're really looking for is a better quality of life. I want to share with you that you're not alone. And designing and creating an ideal week for yourself that serves you and your family is actually attainable for you. I'm hosting a special workshop called The Ideal Week for School Leaders. In this live training with me and 30 other school leaders, you're going to gain clarity on what an ideal week means for you. I'm going to walk you through how to schedule your priorities and your life so you don't leave your goals up to chance. The reason that this workshop is only for 30 school leaders is because we'll be doing it on a private Zoom link, just with me and the 30 other leaders. I've created a custom workbook to help you be reflective, ask questions, and also gave you a calendar of a week so that you can map it out for yourself. The workbook will be full of strategies, technique, and scripts to help you as well. So if you're looking at what does the next stage of growth look like? Because growth isn't always about numbers. Growth is about what are the priorities that I need to set in my calendar to hit those goals. Results follow the calendar. And so you need to identify the top priorities that you need to focus on to move your school in the right direction. Whether it's planning for your exit strategy, retirement, training the next in line, hiring, taking time to spend with your kids, whatever it is. In this training, we're going to build a calendar that serves you and your stage of life. What is important, what is critical, and what your personal values are. You're going to stop diffusing energy in multiple different directions and create a beautiful life that serves you and your school and your long-term goals of legacy and impact. Let's do this together. Head on over to khani.me/idealweek or click the link in the show notes. Let's go to step number 2. Because there's a lot of you that are listening to this that have a great calendar and you've budgeted out priorities. But let's go to the other component, which is missed out a lot. Step 2, make sure you schedule margin, empty space on your calendar. Guys, life almost never, well, I wouldn't even say almost, life never goes according to plan. And psychologists have shown that people chronically overestimate how much they can do in any given time. And so you need to schedule margin, empty space, white space, do nothing time. I want to share two analogies that can really help you understand what it means to create margin and white space. Not having margin in your schedule is like driving down the highway at 100 miles an hour and following so closely with the car in front of you that you only give 6 inches between you and the car in front of you. I have seen so many school leaders whose calendars look like that. Every minute is booked. If you drive 100 miles an hour on a highway with 6 inches of wiggle room between you and the car in front of you, you're going to have a major collision. It's only a matter of time. You cannot drive 100 miles on a highway with 6 inches in between and not crash. It's a matter of time. Your calendar cannot be back to back without any margin, or not have a calendar that serves your life goals, because it's only a matter of time before there's a collision. Here's what collisions look like in a school: giant turnover, poor ratings, parents exiting, you being frustrated at what's happening in the center and being chronically upset and frustrated, not finding joy anymore in your day, just methodically moving through the day, like just with this nonchalantness, kind of this disconnect between you and the staff. That's a collision. That's a collision. Okay, so that's an analogy of the highway. You always leave margin between you and the car in front of you in case you have to short stop. Well, in your calendar, you have to leave margin for short stops. Guess what short stops are in life? Kids sick, dryer breaks, flood happens, hurricane, something goes wrong. Those are short stops. You have to create margin. Here's another analogy. In any city that's ever been built, the city planners create a mix of commercial, light industrial, and high density residential and low density residential areas. Okay, there's always a combination of commercial space, light industrial space, high density residential, and then low density residential. Why do city planners do this? Well, city planners section off the city into zoning areas so that as people want to develop specific property, they can, but they have to keep the desired balance. That's why there are zoning areas. That is why there's this balance and combination of commercial, industrial, residential. Okay, this is for all the people that are real estate lovers here. An ideal week should zone off your time so that your calendar can get filled in organic places, but also make sure that your life has the right balance of priorities. Your life, your ideal week is a balance of your priorities. Now, some weeks it feels off balance, right? Some weeks you might be more committed to your family, and other weeks work takes a higher precedence. That's okay. The ideal week is about, have I zoned off what is important so I have a balance of the priorities? So I share these two examples, one on the highway of speeding and of zoning, because these analogies help us understand more contextually the importance of creating an ideal week, the importance of taking time to actually create a calendar that serves you, and stop flying by the seat of your pants. So let's go to the final step, step number 3. Step number 3 in creating your ideal week are, what are the top values in this season of life? When you think about creating this ideal week, is it family? Is it faith? Is it physical health? Is it mental health? And then these priorities and these values, they need to be blocked into your calendar. Because here's what I know about the truth of your life. A date with your little daughter doesn't happen unless you schedule it. A date with your partner and your significant other doesn't happen unless you schedule it. Time to exercise doesn't happen unless you schedule it. You need to schedule your life and be in charge. Now, these three things, while they create contextual knowledge for you and hopefully create clarity, it can also feel really daunting of like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of steps. Like, this is a lot of things I need to think about. And you've really disrupted my thinking. Amazing. That's the goal. And I want to share with you that I am doing a 90-minute training, a 90-minute workshop on how to create the ideal week for school leaders. We're really going to dive into how and the what and the mechanics so that at the end of the workshop, you have a rough draft of your ideal week. Now, this is not your typical workshop. We're being very selective with this workshop. We're only allowing 30 leaders to come in on a private Zoom link. And the reason that I'm doing it this way is because I want there to be time to mastermind and ask questions. I want you to have time to hear and see how other people are creating their ideal week that are in similar stages and seasons of life as you. And so that's why we're only letting 30 leaders into that. If you joined my Build to Last workshop, we had over 2,000 people join us for the Build to Last workshop. This is a very different experience. This is only on Zoom. There's a private link, and we're only letting in 30 people join this workshop. So if you're interested in having my guidance and the guidance of a custom created workbook that I've created for you to ask questions, to ask yourself, to think, to be reflective, and really leave the workshop with your ideal week, then I encourage you to check out hani.me/ideal week. You can also click the link in the show notes for more information. You deserve this. You deserve an ideal week. And so whether you choose to join us or not, the link is in the show notes again. I hope that today's podcast got your mind starting to think about how do you design a life that you love, that serves you, that serves your goals. Thank you so much for joining me for today's podcast on how to create an ideal week for school leaders. And I'll see you next week. Podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your school, I would love if you can do two things for me. One, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And two, can you please leave us a review? Reviews help other school leaders know that this is the place to learn how to build a school of excellence. And I would be so grateful if you can do that for us. Your help and support makes this show to be able to be listened by the thousands of other school leaders all around the world. Thanks so much for listening, for giving us your time and attention each and every week, and I appreciate that you have joined us.
If your accountant has ever told you to cut back on professional development or slash your teacher appreciation budget or your staff development budget just so you could stay afloat, or has told you, hey, you probably can't go invest in that program, please listen. The problem is not that you're spending too much money on your people or yourself or your investment or your support system. It's that your school has invisible money leaks that are draining your profit, leaks that no spreadsheet will ever catch or accountant. So I created the 6 money leaks of schools that show you the 6 core areas that schools lose money every single month without realizing it. If you close even one of them, your profits will start to soar without sacrificing your team. Go get it now and stop blaming the things that are actually building your school.